G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jake and this is Albie. And today we're going to be protecting this knife with making a wooden sheath. So during the project we're going to be trying some letter carving and I'm going to be using some hewn pine. It's an Australian native timber that's very light, very easy to carve. So that's going to be the timber we use. We're basically just going to get cutting and go from there. So the knife blade comes out to about 2 mil. So we're going to be cutting a strip of this block to around 4 to 5 mil, just to allow us a little bit of cleanup, to allow that glue joint to sit nice and flush together. Now, hopefully my bandsaw blade isn't blunt as all hell, which there's a high possibility it is. But we're gonna get into that. I'm gonna move this away because I don't want any dust getting on it, because I don't want any rust. And I'll take the other blade off just for safety. So I have the fence set up to 7 mil. Typically you'd want this guard a little bit lower, but I don't have that luxury because my fence is so damn tall. That didn't sound good. So if you didn't just hear that absolutely terrible noise, my bottom bandsaw urethane wheel just absolutely shattered into about 5 pieces. So, can't use the bandsaw, I've got to fix that at now a later point in the day, at some point, whatever. So we're going to try and use the table saw. It wasn't my first point of call just because of how thick and how thin the cut's going to be. So that's why I opted to use the bandsaw to begin with. But I think as long as we push it slow enough, safely enough, it should be totally fine. So, let's go over to the table saw instead. We've got our sheath material, we've got our knife. Let's mark them out. Okay, come on in and we will show you how I'm gonna mark it out. So, all we're gonna do, have the knife down and we're going to just go around it with this knife here. Now, there's a couple different ways that I think that it's going to be able to be done. The easiest way is obviously with a router. That's probably the way that I'm going to go. Get pretty close to the lines, then finish it off with like a chisel and some other tools like that. I'm sure if you wanted to spend a lot of time hand chiseling it all out, making it all super nice and neat, that's totally something you can do. I just don't necessarily have the time to do that. So we are going to just use the router just to get the bulk of the waste away and then come back with a chisel to just make sure all these lines are nice and clean and the knife fits in nice and well. As you would have just seen, I had to do some gluing on the parts. That's because when I was chiseling, I wasn't the carefulest and I managed to do a really big split on one of them. And one of them, it was just very slightly splintered. So I think that one should be a lot more fine. It will be a lot less noticeable. This one, however, will probably be the more noticeable one. So if when I go and do the carving, I'll probably end up doing the carving on this one. This will probably end up being the front. But it goes in, the knife goes in, it slides in nicely, and it all fits up really well. Yes, the inside doesn't look the cleanest, but if I really wanted to, I could probably just give a little sand just before I glue the halves together. But with all that being said, I'm gonna see you in a couple days when this glue is dry and ready to start the next part of the process. Okay, all clamped, and we will come back when it's dry. Let's head into the office and we will work on the lettering for the carving. Hey guys, I'd like to quickly just jump in and say thank you so much for watching up to this point in the video. Please, if you feel like I've earned it, subscribe to the channel as it really does help us out and help us continue to make fun videos like this for you guys to watch. And with all that being said, let's get continuing into the knife carving itself. So we're now in the office. What we're going to try and figure out now is what words we want to actually carve into the sheath of the knife. Now, since it's a traditional Japanese sheath, or at least that's what I've roughly seen it is, we're going to try and use Japanese lettering and all that. So the term for like vegetable cutting knife, again, this is all off Google, so if it is wrong, please leave it in the comments, as I won't see it before I carve this into the sheath, but I'll have a good laugh when I find out that I'm wrong and this isn't actually the correct kanji. Nakiri bokcho is vegetable cutting knife. At least that's what it looks like. The other one, which is the meaning for sharpness, is kureiji. Now, I'll show you my phone so you can actually see what I'm meaning by this. So I'm looking at sharpness and vegetable cutting knife. Have I butchered those pronunciations? Probably. I don't actually speak Japanese. It would be a cool skill to learn, but at this current stage, I don't. I'm going off these letterings, and basically how I'm going to do it is have it onto here, maybe do a faux transfer type of thing where you like put a bunch of lead on and then you trace it and the lead goes onto the wood. Since this is a very light wood, hopefully that would work very well, and then be able to carve it from there. Will this all work? No idea. We'll do some testing. Well, not really testing. We're gonna do it on the sheath and hope it works. But I think more than likely, I'm gonna go with the term sharpness, just because I'm using it as an all-rounder knife, not necessarily as a vegetable cutting knife. The other thing is, instead of doing it like English or Western languages where it's horizontal, I'm gonna do it vertical. That's just what I think is the correct way to do it. Again, anything that I do that is misrepresenting the language or anything like that, please let me know. Drop it down in the comments. I'm going to get to drawing this kanji. Hopefully it works out. And then once the knife is all sort of done gluing, we're gonna do a little bit more finishing on it and then do the carving. So I'm gonna get the rough size that I'm going to actually draw on, and then we will go from there. Call it home. Home. Call it home. When we all become undone, we'll surely find the love if we gather all the pieces of us, the ones we try
place for you and I and call it home.
Okay, the piece is out of clamps, and let's see if the knife fits. Let's see. Very nice, fits very nice. And can I pull it out? Yes. I might do a little bit of feathering inside, like putting some sandpaper on a bit of ruler or a bit of metal or something and just going in and out just to try and loosen it up just a little bit. Now we're gonna get into the shaping and just a little more final steps of this project.
Those thoughts about letting her go, my baby. She's some type of wonderful. Cup is half more than full. Never have those thoughts about letting her go. Proof there are angels up in this life, sitting on my shoulders. My. Every time I hold her, feelings of flight that go on forever. So I won't go back, 'cause she the best I had. Take the rear view, tear it off the dash. Cheers to the future we go. Oh, my baby, she's some type of wonderful. Cup is half more than full. Never have those thoughts about letting her go, my baby. She's some type of wonderful. Cup is half more than full. Never have those thoughts about letting her go.
Hi, I wasn't meant to be here, but turns out some of my files got corrupted. Which files? The entirety of the carving part of this video. So probably the most important part. So what I'm gonna do now is I just have another bit of timber. I'm gonna basically redo the carving so you can see it actually being done. Now this isn't my first attempt carving anymore because that was on the knife. You'll see that in the final close-ups of the video anyway, but we'll show you just some nice stuff of me transferring on the lettering and carving it out. Hopefully it turns out nice this isn't the actual thing, but at least you get to see a nice thing of carving. So come nice and close and we'll get started on that process now.
Feel the sun break through the curtains and I get out of bed. Something about the dream I had last night lingers like a feeling that makes you think it might be real. But I remember it was like you were someone else. And I saw spiders lying on the floor, and the imprint pattern on the carpet made it seem like whoever was there had been long gone. And I saw spiders shriveled on the floor. Something like a memory was watching me from the door. Feel the floor shake, now I'm walking across the ceiling. Can't seem to figure out what place I'm in. Some kind of terrible secret I can't understand. Gotta get my head straight, 'cause none of this makes any sense.
Okay, so we've now finished the carving of the letters here after the fact. Now you're gonna teleport back into time where you are going to watch the actual just finishing of the knife sheath. So I hope you enjoy, and without further ado, I will see you later.
Spiders lying on the floor.
And that's how the knife sheath ended up turning out. Now, I am super happy with the shape, the feel, and the finish of it. Obviously, the carving for my first time ever letter carving, I really like how it turned out. Tell me if I got it wrong, because by the looks of it, my top character is slightly off from the original, so it could mean an entirely different word. Let me know down in the comments below. Other than that, if you did enjoy, again, please like and subscribe, as it does really help out my channel. But with all that being said, enjoy some B-roll, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.